Hey, what's up, everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things Rocket League. We had the second day of the EU Winter Split for the grid go down for week number 1. Day 2 was pretty much Europe in a nutshell. We continued to try to find some consistency in Europe, and then Europe goes, hold my beer, and throws everything into chaos. So more of that today in the recap. We're going to be breaking down all the stuff that went on with day number 2 in the playoffs, and then we'll get into a little bit of what's coming up this weekend. We got regionals going down today when this video ends up dropping for North America. Watch party, twitch.tv/Lawler. As always, if you guys want to drop in social medias, all that kind of stuff down below. And as always, if you guys enjoy the content, thumbs up, hit like, turn subscribe, notifications, all that kind of stuff on. And with that said, let's get into the video. So 2 things we're going to talk about in this video. First part is going to be us breaking down the bracket and doing a recap of what happened on day 2 of week number 1 for the grid for Europe. And then in the second half, we'll be focusing on what's actually happening today. When you guys watch this video and when it comes out, North American regionals will be going down. So we'll be breaking down the later half of that. Some really exciting matches today, which we will most definitely be watching on stream today. And that's a great way to transition into what went down on stream yesterday. For those that came in and joined, always appreciative. As I mentioned, twitch.tv/Lawler, link in the description down below. We ended up watching and doing some predictions on stream, and I actually had this to say. We got 2 clips for you guys to check out. We'll call it Lawler's gut pick. Finals is top blokes versus giants in the finals. That's my gut pick. My gut pick is that, based upon what I'm looking at, that's what I'm thinking might happen in the finals today. Like, if Galaxy Racer beats Giants, there's no reason they can't beat BDS, you know? So we ended up doing our predictions because we thought the game started at 10 a.m. my time. Turns out they started at 11, so we had an hour to kill. So we did predictions in long form, kind of Q&A, and had a lot of friends in there. So if you were one of those, greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to stop on over. But we had some pretty good conversations about who and where could win and why, and all the other situations on to how teams are getting and how they're progressing. The big focus is going to be as teams develop, and that's kind of the storylines here for this split so far, is we are very early on. That's why I haven't done power rankings yet. We are still waiting for these teams to develop. Sound like a broken record saying this all this time. So as we take a look at the bracket, we're going to do the top 4, and we're going to do them in pairings as always. So first up, we've got Guild versus Dignitas, and then Renault Vitality versus Fadeaway. First one, Guild versus Dignitas. Dignitas was a team that didn't get any wins in the previous day. But they put up some pretty good fights and some good resemblance of offense. They're starting to progress, but there is still some double commits. You can see a little bit of awkwardness between what Jories is trying to accomplish and what apparently Jack is trying to accomplish. There's still some things that they need to work out, some kinks kind of in their situation. So it is interesting to see that Dignitas is developing, but on the other side of that, Guild has seemed to fit nicely with Devo. I had some concerns, I would say, about what his playstyle was going to be. But he has essentially taken over as that 3rd player in the rotation. He's defensive, but not afraid to utilize the space in his individual mechanics. For those that want a comparison, if you guys don't really pay attention to it, Fairy Peak is one of the best players in Europe, but you don't really see the flashiness out of Fairy Peak. He goes for what we refer to as the high percentage play. What is the most effective thing to do in this moment? But he still has the capability to hit flip resets, crazy wall pinches, do whatever he needs to. And Devo kind of fits into that. Devo can go for the high flying crazy stuff, but a lot of the time he's going to go for the most effective thing unless he has the support of his teammates and he's kind of the lead in the team. And in this case, it's not him. It's Tho and Nolly. They pop off. They do their thing. Devo ties it all together with a pretty bow and makes it dominant. So you were talking 3-1, 4-3, 4-1, a 3-0 clean sweep for Guild, and a really good start today. Also, shout-outs to the Guild social media team. They came and hung out during the broadcast trying to see predictions and have been hanging out. I might be a special guest on one of their shows coming up as well, so stay tuned for that. If we have any information we can make public about that, I will. But I'm supposed to be a special guest on one of their shows on like a Thursday or something. So shout-outs to the Guild team. They super supportive. Glad to see them do well today, or yesterday, depending on when you're watching this. Drop down, then we get Renault Vitality versus Fadeaway. I mentioned that this could be a closer match than people expect, based upon Fadeaway's play style. And you do get that. You know, Renault Vitality starts out really hot, 4-1 victory, and I'm like, okay, Vitality came to play. They should be fine today. They should, for the majority of reasons, have a good day. Fadeaway then bounces back immediately, 2-1, super close, but then Vitality closes it out, 3-2 and 3-2 again. So Fadeaway, again, is not a team that I think is ever going to win the very peak of things, but they will be competitive. And I think that's a good thing, but they need to find a way to transition that into being a top 4 team. That's their struggle right now. Yes, they're top 8. They're very consistent. They're a very difficult team to play, and they will beat teams below them. But the difficulty is, if you want to be in consideration, you need to find a way to find yourself into the top 6 every time and earn those points. So Fadeaway, very good foundation. Got to find a way to transition it into how do we get the wins against the top dogs. And in this case, dropping a Vitality is not something that you should feel necessarily bad about, but go back and watch this match. Find out what they did to beat you. Hopefully Fadeaway continues to progress because they are trying out their new roster now that Yukio is a part of the squad instead of Ocelon. We then go to the quarterfinals, and we've got Guild versus Vitality. This is where we're going to stop for this bracket. Guild versus Vitality. Guild with another 3-0 clean sweep. Do not drop a single game. They go to overtime against Vitality in game number 2, but everything is a 1-goal game differential. Guild and Vitality had a really fun match, really exciting back and forth. But to hold Vitality to 2 goals in 3 games is actually a pretty big feat. There is something special about this Guild team. I've had my hesitation about how I want to present this team, but now that I've seen them in 2 different events have pretty solid performances. Not as good as I wanted to in regionals a couple weeks back, but Guild is looking solid with Devo. It's a very fun and exciting team, so a lot of hype for them. They were, throughout the whole last time when there was scrub, kind of like teetering in that 5-6. They may very well push into that top 4, so trying to go for some spots. Big deal here for Guild. Consistency is king. This could be like your 4, 5, 6 team that makes it into LAN in the summer of next year. So it's exciting stuff for Guild. Really happy about this team. We then drop down to the next group of 4. Team Liquid, Triple Trouble, Top Lokes, and Endpoint. The Team Liquid Triple Trouble one I had a little bit of a conversation with on my stream today or yesterday, talking about how right now Team Liquid, even though they were first seed from their group, they got a reverse sweep over Oxygen, so that put them at 2-1. But head-to-head was the tiebreaker instead of game differential, so I was really surprised to see that there. Because Oxygen, they had a better game differential, which would have changed the results, I think, quite a bit. But I talked about how Triple Trouble, even though they went 0-3, all their matches were super close, and that you should not count them out. They are a team that, if they start hot, are very difficult to beat. And in this circumstance, with Team Liquid, Triple Trouble does start out hot first. They come out in an overtime, 3:23 seconds in game number 1. They end up winning 2-1, and then Liquid, and then Triple Trouble, and then Liquid, and another really long overtime, 4 minutes and 37 seconds for Team Liquid. And then Triple Trouble in Game 5 decides to score 8 unanswered goals. It completely clapped Team Liquid. It wasn't even close, and just put them away for game number 5. So I did call that upset. I think out of all my predictions in the first round, or the round of 16, I went like 6 of 8, so not too bad. Betting odds, I take 75%, so not too shabby. But yeah, Triple Trouble, I knew it was going to be a close one. I'm a little bit concerned for Team Liquid, though. They got to figure something out. I don't know, man. Remco's got his work cut out for him on that one. It's a tough situation. We then drop down to Top Lokes versus Endpoint. We get another sweep, 3-2, 3-1, and 1-0 for Top Lokes versus Endpoint. This is a big win for Top Lokes just because the last time they went up against Endpoint in a notable match, Regionals was where they basically got shut down. Top Lokes came here to play, and we'll talk about them quite a bit in length as we get further. But yeah, this was a foundation of Top Lokes that you're like, okay, they did not skip a beat. They are working hard. Rams and the rest of the guys are doing a really good job of making sure that they continue to be a top 4 team. You may even see them push heavier than that. But I think the top 5, top 6 in Europe is pretty solidified right now. And I'm excited to talk about that one in detail later on this week. We then got Triple Trouble versus Top Lokes, and this is just a better team. Nothing against Triple Trouble. Again, they're very similar to me in Fadeaway's regard, where they will be competitive. Every single game being a 1-game differential. Super close. But Top Lokes just has the better raw talent over the top. I think Bluey was a little bit quiet throughout the day. Usually he has some pretty high impact goals, but he got overshadowed, I think. They need both Bluey and Tadpole kind of stepping up. Tadpole actually really impressed me today when I was watching him. But Top Lokes, man, Archie and the way that they're working the field, if you want to go watch just good gameplay, go watch Top Lokes. Their pass plays, the decision making from passes up high to back down low, like very direct with a ton of intentions and effort behind the pass. Like it's fun to watch. Top Lokes is a really good team. And it excites me because I hope they get picked up here soon, because they desperately need some funding and some backing, because the boys have been working hard and they've been performing well. That then leads us into the semifinals with Guild and Top Lokes. Top Lokes versus Guild. This was a battle. I ended up coming in late to the series because I had to go take care of a personal appointment. Top Lokes versus Guild went to 7 all the way down to the wire. And this one was actually pretty scary. So Top Lokes ended up winning game 1, 4-1. It's like, all right, Top Lokes, more the same. Good to see. And then Guild won 3 in a row, 4-2, 2-0, and 2-1. And you're like, oh, shoot, Top Lokes about to be done here. Is Guild going to get the Spaceman sweep, as he calls it, over on the Rogue broadcast, where they lose the first one and then win 4 in a row? But in this case, Top Blokes battled back 4-3, 2-1, 1-0. After dropping 3 for Top Blokes to win 3 1-goal games in a row to win the series is actually absolutely crazy. Probably the best series of the entire day, if I have to be so bold. But Top Blokes versus Guild was absolutely stellar. Even though Guild loses, and I said this in their chat, this is a pretty good sign with how they're competing. If you're able to go toe-to-toe against Top Blokes, who have a phenomenal day and are playing as well as they are, that is a very good sign for your team. So Guild is in the right trend. I'm very excited to see how they progress forward, but Top Blokes, very good battle. Only one overtime in game number 6, which was a minute 42. But ultimately, this is just a really good series. We'll probably go back and watch this on my stream sometime this week, because it was a really good one. A lot of things to break down on this one. A lot of really good things to point out. We then go to the other side of the bracket with our first 4. We got BDS, Singularity, Giants, and Galaxy Racer. BDS versus Singularity. Singularity put up a little bit of a fight. You saw Scrub talking about it on Twitter as well, talking about how this BDS is the best in the world and that it didn't age well. They did look really good against Singularity. I think Singularity's playstyle just does not do well against BDS, because BDS is just better at it. Fast, aggressive, challenges to everything. They overwhelm you with pacing. So BDS does a good job working the field. Singularity does get a game off of it, so I think that's a good sign. But BDS just the better team. They win in 4, 3-1 victory. Some pretty close matches. 1-0, 3-2, 1-0, and then the last one 4-1. So BDS, man, they're a tough one to stop. We then drop down to Galaxy Racer and Giants, and this is where that clip really comes into play. This one was a really good series as well. Giants versus Galaxy Racer, 3 overtimes, a lot of really close matches, back and forth the entire way. But for Galaxy Racer to win this one out was actually pretty surprising. At the very end of the game, there was a moment where it was, I think, Matane, who was on the left-hand side of the field, or maybe it was Ixo, and he just blasted downfield. It's like, dude, why aren't you holding possession here? What are you doing? And he ends up getting it past the defender, which is the whole point of him clearing it. But it hits the backboard, and I think it was Thamwe who ends up missing it off the backboard. And because he misses it, it goes in. I do not have expectations of Giants missing backboard clears like that, especially when there's 2 players up in position to clear it. So a big mistake is the difference maker in this series. It hurts to see for Giants, because I do think they were playing extremely well. But as I mentioned in my clip, if Giants loses to Galaxy Racer, there is no reason Galaxy Racer can't go on to win more and more and more and more. Primarily being BDS being the focus. So if they can get through the gauntlet of Giants and BDS, 2 teams that I both consider top 3 in the region, one being the number 1 and one being number 3, why can't they go to the finals? And spoiler alert, they do. So we'll get to that in a bit. We then drop down to Redemption versus Wolves. I thought Wolves' individual play was going to be a little bit better. The other side of it too for Redemption was more so Cash had a really good performance yesterday. Cash's performances the day 1 in groups was just stellar, and I'm like, I don't know if he's going to be able to recreate that. Well, he did against Wolves, and Redemption just absolutely dismantled Wolves. 3-0 clean sweep, 4-3 in game number 1 into an overtime for 54 seconds, and then 3-1, 5-1. Redemption looks really good. This is a team that I hope they continue to get these opportunities. The fact that they've guaranteed a spot in the grid, I think, is amazing, because we get to see them every single week. We also get to see them in regionals every few weeks. So Redemption is a team that I hope definitely gets that notoriety and do get picked up, because they're essentially leftovers 2.0, and Mike Boy, Ocelon, and Cash look pretty dang good. So really exciting stuff from them. Happy to see them progressing forward. They beat Wolves, like I said, 3-0. We then drop down to the last one, Oxygen versus Rix.gg. Rix put up a pretty good fight, but Oxygen, glad to see that the mental side of it isn't troubling them. Game 1, 5-3. Game 2, 2-1 with a minute 57 seconds in OT. Game 3 was 4-3 in favor of Rix with another overtime of 36 seconds. And then game 4 is 1-0 for Oxygen. So Rix put up a pretty good fight. I think that is a good sign for them. Obviously, with Magnus trying to figure out what things are going on is pretty difficult. They're a little bit more defensive than I would like. But Oxygen able to hold it out. And that's kind of the concern is Oxygen going to finally push into the top 6 like we believe they can be? That's what we're finding out. But this is where I talk about 4 through 6, 7 are all pretty dang solidified and really tough opponents. But just like yesterday and the day that we watched these matches, every team is super competitive. There is no gimmies. The sweeps, you look at the sweeps and the score lines, like they're still super competitive. So don't take a glance at some of these brackets. Make sure you guys go into the details and really pay attention to like some of these score lines, because everybody is fighting. Europe is pretty competitive. It's exciting to see. You then go to the next quarterfinals of BDS versus Galaxy Racer. And as I mentioned, if Galaxy Racer can beat Giants, why can't they beat BDS? And they do that. This series, I'm definitely going to have to go back and watch. I didn't get to catch this one because I was busy with my appointment. BDS comes out of the gate 4-2, and then Galaxy Racer shuts them out for 2 games in a row, which is very surprising. 4-0 and 2-0. Not exactly sure how that came to be because BDS is one of the hardest ones to stop from scoring. And BDS does a really good job of stopping the playstyle that Galaxy Racer has. Very offensive heavy, very defensive heavy. Depending on the way they approach the ball, Galaxy Racer does a really good job of slowing it down and kind of controlling the game. Something that Arju has really helped them with. That's really carried over to the way that Ixo and Matane play on the ball. A lot more comfortable in their playstyle since Arju really joined in. So my opinion, or for what I assume happened in order for this to work out, is they were able to control the pacing of the game by slowing it down a little bit, utilizing space, and then forcing BDS, who plays really fast, to kind of stop that quick aggression all the time. But BDS does put some resistance there in game number 4-3-1, and then Galaxy Racer wins in game 5 2-1. So really exciting series. Probably gonna have to go back and watch that one. But congrats to GXR, able to progress forward. Chief's doing a fantastic job on that solo cast. It's a ton of work to talk to yourself 4 or 5 hours at a time. So well done to him and credit to him. Down to the other quarterfinal, we have Redemption and Oxygen. And Redemption, honestly, I'm not surprised. Oxygen has kind of teetered back and forth. It's not that they looked bad. It just wasn't as solidified as I would hoped out of Oxygen. So Redemption coming in and winning, I'm actually not too surprised by. They end up winning 2-1 in game 1 with a 3-minute overtime. And then Oxygen wins 1-0 and then 2-1, 2-1. So all 1-goal games, super close series yet again. But 3-1 in favor of Redemption. Congrats to them. That is a big deal. To make top 4 as an unside team, that is ways to turn heads and get yourself signed. So congrats to Redemption, man. They don't stop. We then go into the semifinal against Galaxy Racer. Another nail-biter of a series. Going to 7. Both semifinals going to 7. This one has 2 overtimes and multiple exchanges and leads. Redemption takes game 1 with 3-0. Game 2 is an overtime. Galaxy Racer takes that. 2 more in a row from Redemption. So at this point, you're talking at game number 5. Redemption is on match point. And Galaxy Racer now, similar to what Top Blokes do, not in the same fashion, but they're about to lose. And then Galaxy Racer wins 3 in a row. 1 on overtime, 326, 1-0, and then 2-1. So a bunch of one-score games. People talk about how much better NA is and how exciting NA is. I'm telling you, man, some of these series, like if you enjoy the small nuances and the little things about Rocket League, EU's got some really exciting things to pick up on. You have to definitely be someone that really enjoys Rocket League, I think, to enjoy it as much as North America. North America is all over the place, but like some of these series are just damn good Rocket League. And you get to watch the small things really get exploited, which I'm a huge fan of. It's the play styles that I really enjoy. So another really good series between GXR and Redemption. Redemption taking tied for 3rd, 4th is a big feat. And I want to commend them for the work that they're doing. I hope it continues to get better. So unfortunately, they bowed here, but Galaxy Racer goes on to the finals. And then we don't really need to talk about the finals. 4-0 clean sweep. Top Blokes absolutely decimate them. 4-2, 1-0, 2-1, and 4-0. Honestly, it didn't look like GXR had a chance that entire series. It was very one-sided. It seems like anytime that Galaxy Racer would be like, yeah, we did a thing, then someone would have an answer. My MVP was probably Casio. Boy dominates that midfield, does a great job of dictating what happens with his presence, and just stellar work. So Casio, MVP to you. In my opinion, you played absolutely fantastic on this day. Pretty much every day, honestly, but still, really good performance from Top Blokes to close it out. This is the first time they've won since I think it was like week 4 in the fall split or something like that. So big victory for them. That's got to be a huge confidence booster in the first week of the grid out of 4. So congrats to them, as well as everybody who played this weekend. Exciting stuff, but that is not it. Let's go quickly then to the other part because this video is already getting long. We've got North America stuff coming up for Regional 1. I am super excited about what's going to be happening as I take a look at the bracket. This will be going down tomorrow. Matches will end up starting at 12 o'clock Central. So 1 p.m. Eastern is when these matches will start. We got V1 versus Rogue, G2 versus United, Ghost Gaming Alpine, NV versus PK. This is going to be spread over 2 days. There's going to be day 1 and day 2 again, technically day 3 and 4. On Saturday, they're probably going to go through all the way up until the winners finals of this bracket as you guys take a look. So once they figure out, so that's 2 rounds probably of matches. They'll probably get through winners quarters, winners semis, and then they'll do losers round 3, 4, and probably stop at losers quarters is my assumption. So they've got some matches to get through. You're talking 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll probably get through like 4 rounds of matches. So some pretty exciting matches to go through. We're going to be rooting for version 1, obviously as biased as we can there. I think they'll probably end up playing G2. Ghost and Alpine, I have no idea. I think PK can maybe upset Envy, but we'll see how that goes. There's some really There's some really good matches going on. We'll be watching those on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/LAWL. Come hang out with us. We'll be live, ready for the action as soon as it starts. And we'll make sure to break it down this weekend as well. So as always, appreciate you guys taking the time and love all the support. Questions, comments, concerns down below. Hit me up with anything you got, as well as making sure to hit thumbs up, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And any recommendations. If there's stuff you guys would like me to talk about, let me know. But that is going to do it for me. I'm going to go get some lunch with some friends, and I will see you guys on stream when this video comes out. Peace.